Alright, so hopefully you can hear me fine, but I'm going to explain how to do electron configurations and how to solve for them, and with that I'll do a couple of examples. I did go through in class specifically with some worksheet examples, and so I will go through at least 1, 2, and go over some other examples for you. However, I hope that this should help. So first things first, I did go through and I made the periodic table. I kind of showed you a easier way to do this in the lecture, so make sure you have this written down, but this will make it really easy. Electron configurations are only going to focus on the electrons. In this case, unless I specify otherwise, you are going to be dealing with neutral electrons, and so let's do a practice round of using just hydrogen. And if you look at your periodic table, which I hope you have in front of you, I'll reference my top one sometimes. However, I will be using just my memory because I've learned this many times. So hydrogen, I have 1 proton. Oh, of course. 1 proton. Meaning if I had a neutral atom for hydrogen, I should have 1 electron. Now, electron configurations, you're focusing only on the electrons. So you do not need to worry about the proton amount except to know the amount of electrons. So now what I do is I need to figure out what orbital H is in. H is in my first energy level. As a reminder, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And those are some additional energy levels for you to know. So, I have my 3D. Actually, is going to start here. However, in this case, my hydrogen is in my first energy level, and then it's in my s orbital, and I only have 1 electron allowed. So this would be for hydrogen, for my electron configuration. So right there. Now what if I moved and I did helium? Helium, there we go, has 2 protons, meaning it has 2 electrons. I'm not going to worry about my protons. And it is also in the 1s. However, in this case, I'm going to fill my ring. In my s orbital, I am only allowed a max of 2 electrons. And a good way to note is that if you notice, the rows are only with 2. When I move to my p, which is my blue, I have a max of 6. With my d's, I have a max of 10. And my f's, I have a max of 14. In this case, for a lot of these that you're doing today, you will not have to worry about doing too many past an f orbital. I don't think there's any with, an f orbital. So you should just feel comfortable to do these. Now I know it feels a little bit confusing to kind of get into it. However, we're going to do an example. If you look at section B, oh no, those aren't erasing. There we go. If you look at section B on your handout that I gave you, or in this case, it is located on Canvas, it's under Electron Configuration Worksheet, we have phosphorus. I'll go back to nitrogen on the top in the section A when we go over box and arrow, but I think it's a little bit easier to start this way. So I have phosphorus, and if I go to my periodic table, I have 15 protons in phosphorus, meaning I have 15 electrons. Phosphorus is a little bit different now because I will be moving into a new set of orbitals. So let's go kind of easy. So when I'm writing my electron configuration, I'm going to be writing all the way through. And I'm going to use this little table that's right here as my key because it will give me my order. So, first things first. I go through my 1s. So I go 1s. And I fill it. Because I have to have at least, I need to get up to 15 electrons. So I fill up my 2. Then I go to 2s. And I fill that. And a good way to check is while we're going through, watch the number right here, because that's my total of electrons. Alright, so I have 4 so far, I need 11. So now I'm going to kind of change it up and go through a different order in a way. So I go to P. And I look through and I'm like, alright, finish that. Next I do 3s. And I filled that as well. So let's check. Let's see where we're at so far with our amount of electrons. So 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 6 makes 10, plus 2 makes 12. So I still need 3 more. Well, good things, because I am now moving into my 3p orbital. 3p, but I'm only going to do 3 because I want to get to my 15 electrons. So this is my electron configuration for phosphorus. And I do the little orders because this makes a lot of sense, because if I were to write out the order of my orbitals, which it's a very important way to know the order on how it's written. Oh, excuse me. I actually will put my 4s before my 3d and my 4p. So it's important to understand how to write it out because that helps make it easier. So I do that little key on the side as my way of saying, okay, I know I have to go through here and that's what's next. All right. So now that we've done phosphorus, let's go back to A and let's do nitrogen. But this one, we're going to do what we call the box and arrow method. So I have nitrogen. Let me write my little key. Nitrogen has 7 protons, meaning it has 7 electrons. I find it's easiest to write down the configuration for these and then do my box and arrow, because then I know exactly what I need to do. So, first things first. Alright, I'm going to fill up my 1s for sure, because I have 7. Alright, we're going to fill up our 2s. Let's check our numbers so far. I'm at 4, so I need 3 more at minimum. Alright. 2p, and if I have 4, I only need 3 left, and that maxes me out. Well, this question's not over yet. When I'm doing electron configurations, I'm going to do what I call arrow, and it just tells me about the spin of my electrons. I can only have 2 arrows per box. In this case, I'm drawing lines because it's a little bit easier for you to see. And so when I do it, I have my 1s has a 2, so I only have 1 box. 2s has 2, I only have 1 box. But my 2p, I can have a max of 6, so I have 3 boxes to show the spin on my electrons. Now, I start with 1s, and I see, am I filled? And I am, so I should have an up and a down arrow. 2s, I am filled, so I will have an up and a down arrow. 2p is where it gets interesting. Now that I have multiple boxes, I'm going to put and fill all of my boxes with an up arrow to show that spin before I do any down arrows. So in this case, I have 3, meaning I have to have 3 arrows up to show that spin. If I had any more than 3, then I would start doing down arrows. However, this right here is what my box and arrow method will look like. And that is my answer. Now, when you go into ions, just focus on the electron configuration for it. However, I'm hoping that this will help. If you're having a difficult time with this, please reach out to me so I can help you individually, because in class I'm able to clarify anything that might be confusing for you, but I do want you to succeed, so please make sure that you do take the time to email me if this is not confusing, or watch videos on YouTube. Other than that, that's all I have for you today, so make sure you watch the flame video if you have not done that for the lab, and then make sure you finish the worksheet for electron configurations. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on Monday and or Tuesday. Bye.